In the last part, we saw that Qiao was remembering Xiao Ce and saying that, "Forgive me for not being able to send you off. Take care." As the sun set, the moon soared above the mountain peaks, projecting its rays of light onto her clothes and pale face. As she inhaled the airs of autumn, a sour feeling suddenly started to brew within her heart, spreading across her body. Her heart was cold. Meixiang walked towards her and whispered, "Miss, let's go." She stared at the street for one last time before turning around and stepping away inch by inch. The city walls were dark and looked ferocious, like a dormant beast waiting to eat away at her last bits of determination. The dust was swept up as she stepped on the ground. The big birds spread their black wings as they circled in the sky. She walked down step by step as if she was wandering into a deep swamp. Behind her was a barren wasteland. Further on, the majestic mountains of Tang, prosperous cities, awaited her. Finally, the pass was stationed at the end of those places. After that, the territory of Wei lay in wait. Having traversed through countless lands, she did not manage to escape the river of fate as she was swept along by its currents. A carriage stopped under the city gates. Sun Di was dressed in a green outfit and appeared handsome as he stood at the side to welcome her respectfully. Softly, he said, "Miss, please get in the carriage." "I want to walk alone," Qiao replied softly, with a calm expression on her face. As Meixiang wanted to butt in, Sun Di handed a lantern over to Qiao and said, "The journey at night is difficult. Miss, please head back early." The finely cultivated paper lantern was wrapped around the light as it gave off a pale white glow. Qiao nodded as she turned around to leave with the lantern. Meixiang followed behind her in a hurried manner, but was held back by Sun Di as the young man shook his head slightly. The crescent moon shone on the young lady as she wandered off into the distance. Today was Xiao Ce's funeral. There was not a single soul on the streets, only the crabapple flowers swaying by the roadside and scattering its petals about. "Qiao Qiao! Qiao Qiao!" In that instant, she seemed to hear him calling out again. The man frowned with a cunning look in his eyes as he looked at her with a smile. The landscape looked utopian as the lights sparkled. The fog clouded the man's eyes, making them appear pale and lonely. Finally, he leaned on the chair as he smiled at her weakly, reached out his arms and called out, "Qiao Qiao, let me hug you." A teardrop flowed out of the young lady's eyes. She did not wipe it off as she continued to walk along. The lantern let out a faint ray of white light, similar to the moonlight. She had been through a lot for the past 10 or so years. Half her life, she had wandered along a difficult path. She had fallen and picked herself up many times, but she had ultimately ended up on an uncertain path. Her past self had been trapped by love. She had experienced it all, from being touched, to being helpless, to being stubborn, weak, and to being sad. Presently, that incompetent woman had died along with her unfortunate plight. Life is a bed of thorns. If one's self and heart remain unmoved, one will not get hurt. If one's self and heart are moved, the pain will pierce all the way through to the bones, making one's life a living hell. Yuan Yue, you were right. I'm like you, having been thrown into that bed of thorns. Instead of shutting my heart off, why not I open up and cut off the thorns around me? As her tears dropped into the lantern, a gust of wind blew towards it as well, extinguishing the flame inside the lantern. All that was visible was a foggy road that led upwards. She took a deep breath and threw the lantern to the ground. She straightened her back and walked forward. She swore to herself that this would be the last teardrop that she shed in her life. From then on, she would not cry again even if she bled herself dry. There were bright rows of lights ahead. From afar, a flamboyant residence sat amongst the colorful flowers. The majestic lights shone everywhere, making the sight a spectacular one. Sundi was dressed in a clean outfit as he stood in front of the door holding a palace light, awaiting her return. "Miss, have you sorted your thoughts out?" Xiao Ce looked at him as the silvery white moonlight shone on her face. She nodded silently and said in a heavy tone, "I've never been so clear." Sundi laughed and handed his paper lantern to her. "With that," he said with a smile, "the journey at night is difficult. Let this lantern light the way for you then. The candle lights can be extinguished by the wind, but the flames of passion in the heart cannot." Xiao Ce walked in front of him towards the flamboyant residence and added in a heavy tone, "From now, my eyes will be my lantern, while my heart will be the flame in the lantern." When she stepped into the gates of the residence, an intense array of lights greeted her, blinding her for an instant. A white jade passageway led all the way from the entrance to the front hall. The water in the pools by the sides of the room was pristine clear. There were countless rooms in the building, adorned by portraits and statues. A fragrance lingered around the walls of the building. Curtains that were made of brocade and pearls hung everywhere. The pillars were made of gold. The setting was like the spring winds in the third month of the year, mesmerizing anyone who got in contact with it. Xiao Ce's one true love, and the girl he is referring he likes is none other than Xiao Ce alone. It's not Princess Fu after all. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Stay with me, subscribe to the channel, and like the video. Don't forget to click the bell icon to be notified of the next part of the story. Thank you.